Brilliance Audio presents The Empire's Ruin by Brian Staveley, performed by Maura Quirk, Joe Jameson and Oliver Cudbill. The bridge was empty. On the first pass, they flew in fast and slow and silent over the wide canal, a smear of darkness across the stars, winging just over the heads of the rotting wooden statues at the top of the Grogmarket Bridge. Gwenna Sharp kept her eyes fixed on that bridge, scanning the shadows for her wingmates, Talal and Cora, who should have been waiting, poised for the extract, just as they'd planned. "Son of a bitch," she muttered. "Jack, take us around again." It was supposed to be straightforward. The rain, which had been pelting the city for weeks, flooding the canals, drowning the first floors of the wooden buildings, had broken, if only briefly. For once, she could fly without sliding around on the talons, without the fat, warm drops splashing her face, without curtains of rain hazing everything more than a few paces away. Of course, shit went wrong, even on clear nights. A roadblock, an unexpected patrol, some kid awake well past her bedtime who happened to glance out her window and spot two figures, all in black, twin swords sheathed across their backs, and call out to her parents. The world was a mess even in the best of times, and these were hardly the best of times. A team might be late to an extract for 1,000 reasons, and so Gwenna didn't start really worrying until the 4th or 5th pass. By the 12th, she was ready to set the bird down right in the middle of the fucking bridge and go bashing indoors. "Another go-round?" Quick Jack asked. The flyer sat up on the back of the massive bird, strapped into his saddle, while Gwenna half stood, half hung below, her boots on one of the Kettral's extended talons, her harness clipped in high on the creature's leg. The position left her hands free to use a bow or a sword, to light and lob explosives if necessary, to grab a wounded wingmate and hold on as the bird carried them up and out of danger. Except that there was no one to kill, no one to grab. She took a deep breath, regretting it the moment the smell of Dombang, all dead fish, rot, smoke, burned sweetreed, sewage, clogged her nostrils and forced herself to go slow, to think the thing through. "No," she replied after a moment. "Take us up." "Spiral search?" Anyone else on Gwenna's perch, anyone not Kettral, wouldn't have been able to hear him. She remembered flying on the talons as a cadet, how the bird's beating wings and the skirling wind scrubbed away all sound. That had been years earlier, though, before her trial, before she drank from Hull's sacred egg and became stranger, sharper, stronger. Now she could make out his voice just fine, though it sounded far off and hollow. She could smell him, too, his sweat woven through the miasma from the city below, the acrid soot smeared over his pale face, the damp leather of his saddle. And beneath all that, the too sweet thread of his worry, which only served to remind her of her own. "Yeah," she replied. "Tight spiral, but lean west with it." A moment later, she felt the bird bank. Over on the other talon, Annick Frencher shifted her posture, twisting casually in her harness as they swung around. If the woman was worried, Gwenna couldn't smell it. She sure as shit couldn't see any signs of concern. The sniper hung in her harness easily as a child leaning back in a swing, one hand holding the stave of her bow, the other keeping an arrow nocked to the string. Annick reminded Gwenna of the bow itself. All the slender strength, all the killing, and Annick was nothing if not a killer, folded into a vigilant stillness. She never cheered when her arrows punched home, never pumped her fist, never smiled. While whoever she'd shot was stumbling around, pawing at the baffling shaft, lost in the last moments of dying, Annick was already gone, knocking another arrow, blue eyes scouring the world for something else worth ending. Gwenna had been training, flying, fighting, almost dying alongside the soldier for more than a decade.